go to save. The second button here. Just name it whatever you want. Magnet tutorial. Sure. It's gonna go to your data folder. And go to file data. You'll see that's clicked and it says active file, but there's no masters assigned to it yet. So scroll up, check all these relevant ones. I'm probably not going to use any of these. Resource pack is kind of cool though. You should check it out. A lot of people mod, but they don't have it though. So, you know. Alright, a few minutes later, as you can see I don't have CK fixes, but trying to be a verified mod author, I don't think I'm allowed. Creation kit, it says Magnet Tutorial, ESP. Still 4,955? I don't know where the 1 came from. Maybe the ESP counts itself to be ESL capable? I'm not sure. That's... Anyways, first things first, what you usually want is to make a cell, right? You want like your own little space in the world. That's why you go to world and there's cells. All right. What's very highly recommended is that you right click and hit new. But I'm not going to do that because I'm lazy. And there's an alternate method. Make sure you're in interiors. Click on here and go to somewhere that you know is like a very unpopulated cell, I guess. Duplicate it. Go to it. This is the very famous unowned cell. Well, what a beauty. What a beauty. Okay. Let's get rid of that. There's a light somewhere in here. You can toggle lights and markers with M for markers, and L will show the radius of the light. And as you can see with the purple thing in here, that means it's a shadow casting light. If I put this here, you'll see like shadows here from the player. Okay, so now that we're here, this place is like fully nav meshed, theoretically. As you can see, there's the full room is nav meshed with 2 triangles. Anyways, with the triangle select, you can hold control and select multiple and then just get rid of it. That's the old nav mesh, we don't want that. Holding shift and rotating the camera, you don't have to press left click or anything, you can just rotate just by holding shift. Okay. Zoom in with the mouse wheel, click it down and pan. Yeah. It's kind of an empty room. Let's oh, yeah, I should go over this. This is the object window. This is where you'll be spending most of your time. You got actors, it's filled with all that junk. Audio, characters, just actors and characters are very closely related. If you're making an NPC, this is pretty much the 2 main tabs that you'll be bouncing off of, because character has like race and what was the other one? The other really important one. Maybe not, just race. Perk. Yeah, perk is under actor instead of magic or something, or race or character, whatever. Anyways, most things make sense, but some things don't. Items filled with a bunch of, you guessed it, items. Magic, most of your magic stuff. Magic effect, it's pretty much the core of all of these. Like if you're making a spell, you're gonna be using a magic effect on the spell, and the spell also probably has a projectile, which is not magic, because sometimes it's not. projectiles are under special effects. So yeah, you'll be making a spell with a magic effect that has a projectile, and that projectile maybe explodes or something. We'll be doing that later. Special effects is pretty cool. You got shaders. Yeah, miscellaneous is kind of important. Let's hide this. Miscellaneous has texture sets, which is really important if you're doing like PS4 stuff. Make things look a little bit more unique. Form lists are extremely important, as well as globals. Keywords. Those three things are super important, but you know, we're not there yet. We covered that. Special effects. World data is like, yeah, just lighting, right? Yep, lighting and climate. And world objects. It's like everything that's not in items, pretty much. That's a terrible way to explain it, and you should not go about it that way. World objects has things like separated into other categories like containers and statics. Anyways, okay, yeah. So there's statics. Let's start with a static. Let's do a table, right? You can show edited forms, and since I haven't made anything yet, there's nothing there. There will be though. But for now, let's just run through a few tables that you'll find in Skyrim. Alright. Candlehorn table is not a table. I'll just let you know right now. Shit. I keep doing this. Shift and F will focus in on an object. This is the Candlehorn table. We'll be putting this on the table, but so beautiful. You can rotate things by right-clicking on them, and they'll rotate along the Z axis by default. Shift F to focus on it, just because. The X button will like make it rotate along the X axis. Let's put snapping on. It's got a. I set the snapping to 15 degrees because it's very like variable. You can do like 45-degree angles by rotating it 3 times. Stuff like that. There's a lot of lag. Left clicking. So right clicking rotates, left clicking moves, right? Okay, left. Alright. Let's move that against the corner. Up. Holding Z moves it. Yeah, up and down, sure. And you can floor things by hitting F, sure. Alright. Let's set a chair. Come on, OBS, work with me. Please. My laptop cannot handle OBS recording creation kit. Furniture. Chair. Yes. We're gonna do... Where's the orc chair? It fits very well with this theme. There we go. As you can see, things in CK are named relatively well, for the most part. There's definitely contradictions to that rule. But see, Dwemer is usually DWE. HH is High Hrothgar. Invisible doesn't really work at all. Noble, obviously. Orcs. Let's put that down right now. Let's have a... You can Enter the chair from the right and the front. I don't care. Most things that pop up as errors are just irrelevant. Okay, we're back. So, just moved a little bit of stuff around. See, it keeps lagging. I can't record any footage like this. What the fuck? So let's move that light just above the candle. Let's, you can double click on a light and, or anything. You can double click on anything and this reference window will come up. Since it's a reference, you can like name this specific light, that is in this group of all these lights. You know what I mean? So that's a reference, and which is kind of important because you can also like put a script directly on a reference instead of having it on all of these objects that are this light. Does that make sense? I don't fucking know. I'm just spewing information. If it catches anyone's ear, that's cool too. I usually put a tag on things that I name. Okay, first of all, we're editing this fucking light. Okay, let's close that out. This is the Bleak Falls candle light. If I edit this right now, if I go to edit base and I change anything, it'll change that for every fucking light in the game. We don't want that. No. So what I do is I put a little signature thing on it and then underscore, and then I start naming it what I want it to be named. So this is going to be a light. Candle. Select color. It's going to be a little bit more orange. Shadow. So another thing you could do is you could change the intensity of the light. Let's do 1. It's gonna be really fucking bright. I don't know, 2.5, sure. Movement amplitude. It's gonna move like fucking wildfire. 5,500. Yeah, 555. Fade. Let's do something ridiculous like 15. Sure. Radius. 555. Near clip. I don't know what that even means, to be honest. Sure. Leave it at 1. Now let's find out. No, we already changed too much. We won't really know what we changed, of what affects what. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm not a professional. I'm not a professional. Just saying. Create a new object. So since we gave it a new name, if we didn't give it a new name, and we would have hit OK, we would have changed everything in vanilla to this piece of fucking shit. But since we did give it a new name, Creation Kit is kind enough to tell us, hey, you can make a new form out of it. It's not going to affect everything. Just this monster of a freaking candlelight. Holy shit. And it was just a little preview of what if this light was this. I'm going to say no. That looks like shit. Cancel. Alright. Let's go to lights. So now we're going to hit on show edited forms and clear that. Damn. It's that light that we made. Freaking disgusting garbage. Okay, fade maybe was a bit too much at 10, right? Let's do 5. Intensity 0.5. Movement amplitude. Let's do 20. 25 is fine. Sure. Okay. Now that we changed that, this is still the vanilla one since we hit cancel. After we made the new object, we didn't really change it into it. So what we can do is, instead of editing base, because if we do this and we try to, actually, let's do that right now. MS LHGT candle. We can change whatever we want. But it says the form ID is not unique. So we can't change it back to what we already named it. Everything in CK is named something slightly different. So what we can do is make sure that the render window is highlighted or selected with an object highlighted. You don't need to double click it, that's just a force of habit. And hit Control F. And what that does is it swaps, it finds what kind of object this is. This is a light, so it changes this light to any light in the game. And that's with Control F. That's just a single form replace. Wild card replace is like you can change this light into a fucking slice of cheese. So let's do that. Let's do no. Let's not change it to a cheese. Let's change the one form into this light that we already made. Oh, it's still way too bright. Neat trick. You can scale a light. And yeah, let's do that. That seems big enough. We'll move it down a bit. What? Oh, it's lagging. Okay. So what I did is I turned the lamp on, not the skybox. If you hit A, it turns the lamp on or off. And what lamp is like pretty much default light for CK to help it render stuff. Sometimes you'll want to keep that on, but usually if you're decorating or something, you'll definitely want to turn the lamp off. Okay, so we got a table, a little sconce with a fire, and a chair. Let's put a rug. Let's do a rug. Most rugs are statics, believe it or not. And you'll find things like rug 10, which is some freaking masterpiece of a rug. Holy crap. Look at that slight tilt in it that you have to pretty much hide or base your mod decoration around. Like put a kid's toy or something there, like they shoved the rug a little bit. You know, you gotta write lore with what you decorate, you know? This lag is unbearable. Let's add a book. Oh my god, this lag. Let's add a book. Woo. Alright. Please. Items. Book. Book. The main one is fine. I think it's like the Dragonborn. Book 3, valuable Dragonborn. That is the iconic Skyrim logo book. Put that on the table. Beautiful. Or is it? No, it's not. It's gross. It's got text in it. No one wants to read? Are you serious? No, what we're gonna do we're gonna make a fucking spell. Let's call it Let's do a tickling spell. Let's a spell to tickle people, right? Yeah. Let's name it test. Uh, let's do something else. Let's just do a shock spell. Test shock. Okay. Teaches a spell, right? If you click that, this will be a spell tome. You won't even see any of this text. In fact, I don't even have to delete it. But you pick up the book. It says test shock, and it's gonna teach a spell we don't have yet. Create a new form. Yes. Yes. So since we hit OK there instead of cancel, this is now our book for sure. Okay, spell time. So magic spell. Okay, so we're gonna go to spell. Let's go to edited form so we can type something and doesn't lag out the game. What kind of spell should we make? I always like doing like projectile spells that like explode, you know. So let's just do that. It's gonna be a shock spell, right? Yeah. Trying to think of a name for it. So whatever, shock spell. Okay, so let's just call it shock burst. And what kind of spell should it be? We have the options fire and forget, which is usually like a projectile or something. Something that you cast and then you forget about it. Constant effect is usually for like an enchantment. What you could do instead though is like you could make it a buff. Let's say it increases your alchemy and enchanting by 55. You would make it a constant effect. So when the player casts it, you get that buff. I guess you could also make it a fire and forget and just set the duration for either way to like 5 minutes or something. Whatever. Anyways, concentration is pretty interesting because that's how you make cloak spells. You have to make a concentration aimed spell. We'll get into what aimed is in just a second. In fact, let's do that right now. Magic effect, new. Okay. Sure. Okay, yeah, anyways. Concentration is like flames or shock or healing. Like you have to hold down the cast button. It drains your mana per second. Fire and forget is like a set amount. Constant effect is usually an enchantment or a buff. Which, yeah, whatever. Fire and forget is really useful. That's all I'm trying to say. Okay, self, you cast it on yourself, fire and forget on self. That's what I was thinking about when you make it a buff. But constant effect would work too, as long as you set a duration. Although constant effect would be more practical for an enchantment. Yeah, let's do fire and forget. Let's do an aimed spell. Fire and forget contact. That's how you make a weapon enchantment. Just so you know. Fire and forget. We don't want it aimed. Target actor and target location is usually for like summons, although you can do summons with aimed spells. I've done that. Magic skill. Magic skill is very important. If you don't have one of these, it doesn't even show up in your player's inventory, even if they do learn it. So let's do destruction, since this is going to be a shock burst. If I forget, aimed destruction. Okay, so value in parts, I'm not sure, but value modifier is what we want. It's usually done for like things that damage stuff. What it's going to do is we're going to damage health. So we go to associated item. And there's a bunch here too. Health. We're going to make it hostile. So, you know, people get angry. And detrimental, because if we didn't do this one, then this would heal. Since the only thing that the game knows is that it's trying to modify health positively, I guess. And then hitting this makes it modify health negatively, you know. And you can do that with like speed. You can make it detrimental on speed or give it a speed buff. Stamina. There's a list of like actor values. We haven't made a projectile yet. I'm gonna do that right now. Yeah, because everything else seems pretty on point. I don't want it to have an area. Effects persist and recover. Yeah, sure. Okay. Let's save right now, just because. Close this. And special effects. Let's do the explosion first, because we have to set one. If I remember correctly, it was like a Storm Atronach power attack. Something like that. Explosion, Storm Atronach power. Yep. Because I know this one has a specific model that I want. We're going to do the radius 255, image space less. I think this can be 0. I don't really know what that does. We're going to have it. Yeah, we're going to have it do damage, but not this way, because this way will make anything hostile. I know this spell is going to be hostile, but I just want to show you a method of using explosions to do damage, but not make them hostile. So you got to have the force and the damage set as 0. And then what you're going to do is going to put an enchantment on it. Let's do that. Let's do a shock enchantment. Okay, shock damage. Yeah, here it is. Okay. Sound one. I'm going to leave the sound as it is. Fuck this. I don't want to mess with it. But I do want to rename it, or else I would have changed this for all the vanilla ones. Okay. So we made our custom explosion, right? Yes. So this explosion is going to look like the one that we want it to, with the radius that we want, and the enchantment is going to do damage. We're going to put it on a projectile. Let's make a new one from scratch. Shit. Hold on. I have to get a file path from something real quick. So, image in shock. This is under statics. Yeah. So what I want to do is I want to get this static. This is the inventory for a shock spell with the little shock orb. So I want to get that model and use it for a projectile. So I'm going to select all this. I'm going to right click, copy. I don't need to do anything else with this. I just got to wait for the lag to let me cancel this box. There we go. Fuck. Oh my god, what is this? The table. Oh, let me close out of that. No, please. Where's the cursor? Here we go. Okay, we're back to stable. Alright, we're going to go to projectiles, and we're going to make a new one. Now, this is all the projectiles, but we're going to right click and new. Do my little signature. This is going to be a projectile. Here, the art file. You go to edit and make sure it's set to meshes, and then any vanilla mesh that you want can be a projectile. Yeah, a house. You can make a house a projectile if you want. You probably want the collision radius to be a little bit bigger, but for normal sized things, 10 is usually fine. I'm going to give it 0.5 gravity and move decently fast. Let's do 2. Yeah. I've seen arrows have ranges of 60,000, so I just do 5 5s. Impact force. Let's do that really high so that, like, when you hit something directly, they get launched, but the explosion itself doesn't have a force. So I can show the difference there. But they're kind of like relative in what they do. Like the impact force 555 would be pretty much the same, a little bit less than a explosion with 555. Okay. Speaking of, we gotta set the explosion on it, and there's the one that we made. It's gonna trigger on impact. You could have it alt trigger and put it on a timer. So 0.1 seconds after we cast it, it'll blow up. The problem with this is if it hits a wall, it never activates. If it hits anything, even an actor, it never activates. So that's a tricky one to use. I see this on pretty much everything, so I just click it. Okay, so now what we can do is we made our projectile that is assigned to an explosion that we made, and we can go back to magic, and there's magic effects, and there's that shock spell we're working on. There we go, load it up, and there we go. Projectile. That's all we have to do. We don't have to assign an explosion. That's already assigned to the projectile itself. I really don't know when this is used. Health file. Okay, let's give it a description. Shock orb for So having this say mag inside these brackets will have it change depending on what you set the spell to. I'll show you that right now. Spell. Yeah, gotta make sure it's fire and forget aimed, because that's what our magic effect is. New. And 55. Either hand, casting perk, none. There we go, this is what I want to do. Auto calculate. So let's have it so you gotta wait 1.5 seconds to cast it. And it'll cost 25 mana. I think we're done. We just gotta have this book. Teaches a spell. Shock spell. Okay, let's add a door to this interior. Who was I kidding? The orcs always have the best stuff. It was the orc door. Which way does it open? It doesn't really matter. Fuck it. It's just a test thing. Okay. So what we're going to do is when we're making a door, so we're in the cell that we want the door to lead into. So we double click on the door and we move this reference window a little bit out of the way. Then we go to the area where we want the other side of the door. Okay, Tamriel. Whoops. Riverwood Bridge. Cool, yeah. This is about where my character is. So we're gonna just plop the door there just because we can change it later, who cares? And then, this is really annoying because of all the lag. CK is kind of decently stable, you know, but with OBS, it's a different story. Can you please just zoom in on the door? Thanks. Okay, I like to have the door, you know, right in the center of the render window. And this is the reference of the first door that we had. So their doors are special. They have a tab teleport in front of everything else. You just click on the teleport, check, and then reference window, or this button. Just click that button. Okay. And then hit OK. And then these doors are linked. As you can see, it looks like shit. So grab that and move it off. You can rotate it. You can't scale it or anything. This is just where you come out of the door. And you can even double click on it and see the first door. Okay, I think we're done for today because I'm tired. Tired of the slag. Okay, so final thing, we're gonna rename this cell because I totally forgot to do that. That's probably bad. A lot of mods out there probably have an unknown cell duplicate 001. Don't do that. Okay, Yeah, literally, just make your own cell. I'm lazy. This is just a different method you could use. It's just not recommended. AAA. Never put an underscore in your cell name. That will corrupt your game file. So AAA MS cell. Fuck it. We're gonna hit save, and we're done for today. Cool. Alright, if I hadn't mentioned it before, this is for anyone modding that isn't using MO2 mod organizer. So you'll have your ESP saved directly in your data folder. What you can do is you can go to the creations menu and go to your load order, and you can find your ESP there, probably all the way at the bottom. Yep, Magna Tutorial ESP. Thank you. Just hit back. And that's how you enable your mod without a mod organizer. There we go. There's that random door to nowhere. Still called the unowned cell because, you know, we did the taboo big no-no thing. And there's our overly exaggerated fire, our chair, the masterpiece of a rug. I'm really glad it's not a tickle spell. As you can see, it's under destruction, and we set that in the magic effect. If we hadn't done that, we wouldn't even be able to select it. I didn't set the magic inventory. Whoops. Very laggy. Don't mind the floating platform, that's from a different mod I'm working on. It's got a nice range. Man, this flag is terrible. Alright, let's just go ruin some lives and call the video quits.
Please, someone.
You can see the
Death awaits you.
I'll rip your heart out!
like stops.
Slightly close to the north.
Just wanted to be like covered in it. Covered in the shots. Oh well.
Your head on my wall! Oh, you got
Very lucky.
victory!